Conversations with CardFlight. I'm Derek Webster, and I'm joined today by Cory Capoccia, who's the co-founder and president of Womply. Welcome, Cory.
Hey, thanks, Derek.
Excellent. Could you start by maybe telling our guests what Womply is and what your company does?
Yeah, absolutely. So for anyone who's not familiar, Womply is a software company that's focused on helping small businesses. We took a look a while ago in about 2010 and said small businesses are fundamentally underserved by technology. If you think about it, customer data, financial data, all this information about their business exists in all these different systems and pockets and silos. And so what we did is we started collecting all this data for them so that they don't have to. We brought the data in to our software so that now a small business owner can benefit from all of their data in one position, in one place. So with Womply software, a small business owner can understand how they're performing relative to other similar businesses around them so they can have benchmarking. We give them a full end-to-end management platform for their overall online reputation and social media. We also provide them with a CRM so that they can connect with their customers and they can understand who their customers are, who their most valuable customers are. They can segment them accordingly. So you could think of it in many ways as like a MailChimp or a Constant Contact on steroids.
So we'll come back to Womply in a moment, but let's talk about you, the person. So how did you get your start in this industry and kind of what led to the role you're in today?
So I think my start in the payments industry, from what I've gathered, is similar to many folks' start in the payments industry, which is I totally fell into it by accident. I had this path to go down the nice cushy consulting job, working at a Big Four consulting firm, and ended up deciding to take a chance and do the startup thing. Ended up being involved with that company for quite some time, and most recently Visa actually purchased the company. So it's been really cool to see that go kind of full circle. Just fell in love with it and wanted to find other ways to continue to drive better, richer interactions between consumers and ultimately merchants.
I think you said Womply was started in 2010?
2011.
2011,
yes.
Okay. What have been some of the ways you've seen our industry change over that period from 2011 to today? What have been some of the biggest changes you've observed?
Where to begin? So I think the industry overall has become much more professional. The technology itself and the innovation around payments has just accelerated at such a rapid pace that it's really been amazing to watch kind of the evolution of this industry from something that was more of a selling a service and just trying to make margin and focusing on longer term contracts to lock merchants in to being a recognition that we need to deliver value as newer incumbents have shown up like Square, Stripe, others. You've seen the industry really wake up and say, in order to remain relevant, we need to start to figure out how to innovate, and we need to deliver value. We can't just use contracts to purely lock our customers in.
What are your predictions for the next few years? What changes do you see from here?
We've seen a lot of them already. If you just look at the consolidation that's already happened with the M&A activity, where I believe we'll start to see more things happen is around technology playing a much bigger role in the role of fintech companies and these large payment processors and acquirers. Because I think there's a recognition that to remain relevant to your end customer, whether that is the merchant on the side of the acquiring business or the consumer on the side of the issuing business, or any of the folks that play as intermediaries in between, you really need to deliver meaningful value, and there's a lot of investment in this area that's attracting tons of innovation.
What industry trend are you following the most closely right now? What are you paying the most attention to?
I think for me personally, the one that we care most about serving small businesses is how are other large processors and how are technology companies innovating in the way that small businesses accept payments. Companies like Postmates, DoorDash, any of these last mile delivery companies like Caviar, they're actually carving out a portion of that transaction and that customer experience from the business, because they're enabling now through their platform a consumer to order ahead and order and transact with that business through their platform. But what that means is the business owner is losing a lot of the visibility into who that is as a consumer. The payment processors and the acquirers no longer see that transaction, so they've lost visibility and also revenue from that. So I think what we're really curious about is what other innovations are going to come, whether it's from Apple with Apple Card or Apple Pay, or other tech companies that are going to kind of disintermediate the traditional payment acceptance methods.
So final question, if you could wave a magic wand and change anything about our industry, what would you change and why?
It's a great question. I think the single biggest challenge, and I'll kind of reference what I was highlighting earlier, with the current industry as I see it, is the lack of pace of innovation. I think that it's easy when you have the business model of merchant acquiring, which is such a high cash flow, recurring revenue stream, that it's easy to become somewhat complacent and accept that revenue for what it is and be in a position where you're almost afraid to innovate for the risk of kind of disrupting the ship and potentially breaking the momentum, and then therefore impacting that cash flow. But the challenge there is if you're not innovating and you're not going out and looking at, well, what are those other threats of other companies that are innovating, someone else is going to take that opportunity over time. And so I think for many of the more legacy players or incumbent players that have acquired market share over the last 40, 50 years, the most important thing that we need to focus on is how do you equip them to be successful, to innovate faster than they would naturally, and then deliver more value to them, so it's not keeping them in by a contract, but keeping them in based on the stickiness of the value they're delivering.
Cory Capoccia, co-founder and president of Womply, thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you, Derek. Appreciate it.
And thank you for joining Conversations with CardFlight. For more great conversations with CardFlight, be sure to follow CardFlight on YouTube, Twitter, or LinkedIn. Thank you.